Hi, everybody, and welcome to the training for how to enter your beach data sheet information onto the Survey123 form and upload that form. Saving your data. And we'll also cover what we call the view-only dashboard and how that's the way you can look at your data after you've uploaded it. And with us tonight, it's Bets Brace from Whidbey, who does probably a lot of you will know her when you watch this video. She helps people get their accounts, their ArcGIS accounts, and the Survey123 application. And I'm Dave Krause, and I do a lot of work with the data that is collected. So we'll get started. First, I want to show you a little bit about our Pigeon Guillemot website and where the toolbox is for various documents that explain how to do the survey, and especially the page that talks a lot about how to use Survey123. So I'm going to share my screen here. Here is the home page of our website for a Salish Sea Guillemot network. And over here in the menu, there's a survey toolbox. And if you click on just the toolbox, survey toolbox, that will take you to the page that has various documents. It's got the survey protocol on it. The beach data sheet directions, which is in a kind of a summary, abbreviated directions, very useful. The prey fish identification card and some other stuff. You can get your vehicle window signs here, if in case you're parking somewhere where you need to let somebody know why you're there. It'll let them know that, for instance, South Sound, that you're with the Pigeon Guillemot breeding survey. And if you click on either of these, this will give you the updated beach data sheet for 2023. And this is a prey fish ID card that you can use in the field to help you identify fish. Now, what we're going to be talking about tonight is Survey123. And so this page, Survey123 data system training, has a lot of how-tos on it. So if you can watch this video when we're done with it, we're going to load it up onto this site, onto this page. But you can also work through the documents that are here if you have questions about how to operate Survey123 or how to upload a survey. Okay. So I'm going to turn it over to Bets, who is going to introduce you to the Survey123 form.
Okay, so I now am sharing my desktop where I have open on one side the Pigeon Guillemot survey beach data sheet with some sample data in it that we're going to use for showing you how to use the Survey123 app, which is on the other side of my screen. I have the login page posted up. You'll see that for me, I have a little icon in my status bar for opening that up, and it opens up to look like this. So I'm just going to walk you through signing in and entering the data in this portion of the data sheet. And hopefully all of you have your accounts by now and know your username and password. If you do not know your username and password, there are helpful links for retrieving those. So let me log in. And just make sure, some of you may have other ArcGIS logins. your Survey123 login should have come through a process with me, and that's the login you want to use. So hopefully that's not confusing to anybody, but if those with multiple logins, make sure you're using the Survey123. And when your Survey123 opens up, it will look sort of like this, but you won't have all of these forms. You will most likely have just this one form, which is the Pigeon Guillemot survey form. So when you log in, if you click on your form, it opens up and allows you to start collecting data. And to start collecting data, we would click on the collect button. And if you are logged in successfully, you will see your name, the username that you have listed right here. And all the regions that are authorized for you will show up here. I think I'm authorized for many so that I can help, but you probably will have just your region authorized. But you still have to select a region. So you use this pull down and scroll through to the region that you will select. And I am going to select Whidbey for tonight's purposes. And once your region is populated here, you'll be able to pull down the list of colonies for that region. And while all of these colonies are very nice, we have at the very end something called ZZZ, sample colony for testing. And each region will have one of these. And this is a colony you could use for trying things out without fear of putting some bad data into the database, because that data will be ignored. But when you're, of course, during the season, you're going to want to select your appropriate colony from this list. It automatically populates a location in the background, but we have to enter then the date and time. So this should have mentioned the beach data sheet over here on the left shows the colony name, ZZZ sample colony. And now we have the survey date of June 3rd. And we'll select June 3rd. And then we come with a start time is the next data you have to enter. And on your beach data sheet, you will have a start time. And we'll enter it here. Now this box shows up in different places, many places, and it acts the same everywhere. You can use the up and down arrows to change the time, but you can also just type in here. And I find that's the easiest thing is to type in 800. And then you want to notice that right now the PM is highlighted, and that's because we're doing this in the afternoon right now. But if you will do your surveys in the morning, if you're entering your data in the morning, the AM will be highlighted. But you just want to make sure you have AM highlighted in this box, and then you click in the box itself and it enters the time. And my 1 hour survey goes from 8 o'clock to 9 o'clock. And again, I'm selecting AM, tapping in here. Now I have my 8 o'clock to 9 o'clock time. And this is what's called a standard 1 hour survey, which is what most all of you will be doing over the summer. Then we have a block for surveyors. And over here on the left side, we have a lead name. So we have a drop down for leads, and you will select the right person here. So I'm going to select myself. But the observers who show up in this block on your data sheet have to be manually entered in. And you want to make sure to include your lead's name if your lead is an observer. And in this case, I've been observing, so I'm going to put my name in too. Okay. And then we come down to volunteer time, which is showing up right here on your beach data sheet. And that time includes 1 hour on the beach for everybody, plus the time for each person to get to the beach and get home from the beach. And as well, you should include the time for the data entry person. So all of that added up together for our first week is going to be 8.5 hours. And then the next section here is our tide data. And you'll see up here, we have, it is a plus tide on the beach data sheet. And the tide in feet is 2.3. And the tide is incoming, circled. And those items you should get from whatever standard tide app or tide book that you use when you're out on the beach. Then continuing on down, we have the PIGU counts. So this is the count at the beginning of your survey, the midway, and at the end. This is where we all want to get to the beach a little bit ahead. So then we can sit down and settle in before 8 o'clock, let the birds come back, and then start our count, beginning count here. And these numbers show up right here on the beach data sheet. So at 8 o'clock, we had 47. At 8:30, we had 56. Oh, and I'm using the tab key between these fields. You can use your mouse or you can use the tab key. And then the last count at 9 o'clock was 35 pigeon guillemots. So that's, well, okay, then the last thing on your page is the general notes. I don't have a survey note on my beach data sheet, but in this area, you can add notes that you think are particularly interesting. And one of the things at my beach at Keystone, we are also a marine park. And so we have scuba divers who sometimes will come in, and there'll be a bunch of them getting into the water right next to my rock pier, and it will scare the birds off sometimes, or you know, it's just kind of interesting. Sometimes they're not bothered, but I might this day have seen that they bothered the birds, and so I'm putting it on here. You might put in here that it was very windy, lots of waves, or fog. Apparently, I learned last night that fog can also be a big consideration for notes, because you might not be able to see the birds. So now that you've typed that in, when I arrow out, when I move off of this page, it's automatically there. If I change my mind and I didn't want to add it, I can come to this trash can and delete it, or I could add a separate additional note with this plus sign. And at the bottom of your screen, you'll note that this 1 of 1 relates to the purple block, which are notes. And this 1 of 5 at the bottom relates to the pages in your survey form. Right now we're on page 1, and clicking the right arrow takes us to page 2. And on this page, we're going to have Dave go through with you how to add a burrow and visits. So I'm going to stop sharing and let Dave take over. Mute, you're on mute.
Thank you, Beth.
Yep.
Yeah, we're almost getting this. Okay, so on the left on my screen, I have the second page of the beach data sheet for this pretend survey. And excuse me, I need to move some information here. I'm going to move to page 2 of the Survey123 form. And page 2 is where you add burrow visits. So what we're going to do is add this information in the beach data sheet into the Survey123 form. To open a page to add a burrow, you click this plus sign. You add the burrow ID in this block. So the first burrow here is burrow 5. We'll enter burrow 5. Then to add visits associated with burrow 5, you use this green section. Green means visits. The blue section is about burrows. So we click on this plus sign to open a blank page to enter a visit. So the first visit is a visit to burrow with no prey at 8:15. So we click on no prey. We adjust the time to 8:15 as Beth showed on the first page, making sure to select AM. And now we have the first visit entered. Second visit, in order to open a new blank visit page, you click this plus sign within the green section. And that you see that cleared the information that we had, so we can enter fresh information. It's a little disconcerting because it just looks like the information disappeared. But down here, you see now that you're on page 2 of 2 for visits. So, I have to go ahead and answer this. So we're on page 2. I'm going to put the time in 8:46. AM. Now we can go back and see that visit 1 is there. At 8:15 visit to burrow and the 8:46 visit to burrow. We have one more visit for this burrow. So we'll open a new fresh page. And it was a gunnel delivery at 8:40. Now we have all three visits entered. You can scroll through using the arrow to take a look at them. Another nice feature of this page is if you scroll down a little bit, you can see that all of the visits for burrow 5 have been entered. 2 no prey visits. You can compare these to your each data sheet. Ditto with the gunnel visit. So this is a great way to check that what you intended to enter, you did in fact enter. Now we need to move to the next burrow, N1. And in order to open a new burrow page, you click this plus sign that's in the blue section. See that open a new page, and you can put the next burrow ID in here. 1. And we had 2 Sculpin visits. So we'll open a fresh visit page, click on Sculpin, put in the time of the first one, which was 8:21. And we'll put in the second one, which is just 2 minutes after, opening a new fresh visit page with the plus sign. And we can scroll down and see that we've successfully entered those visits for burrow N1, labeled right there. 2 Sculpin visits at 8:21 and 8:23. Or burrow ID 9. So we'll open a new burrow page. Put in the burrow ID. And enter the single visit that was an other or unknown at 8:42. And once more, we have the summary of that down here. Burrow 9 is shown with a other delivery at 8:42. So that is how you enter the burrow data, and use these visit summaries to make sure that what you thought you entered, you did actually enter. And now I'll turn this back to Bets, who will tell you about disturbances.
Okay. Can you see my screen? Not yet, can you? Okay, hold on. There we go. That should do it. There. All right, so we just closed up the add a burrow box, and we're going to move from page 2 down here to page 3, and page 3 is where we add a disturbance. So the pink box is all about disturbances, and we open it up with the plus sign. And when you look at my beach data sheet over here, we have 2 reported disturbances. And the first reported disturbance is the most likely type of disturbance, an eagle. So along the top here, you have listed the most often type of disturbances that we see. And then you have an unknown where you just can't figure out what caused it, or an other cause, like maybe the scuba divers. Anyway, so the first disturbance we had was written in this box here, and it was at 8:27 a.m. So the disturbance type was an eagle, and the time was at 8:27 a.m. and it lasted until 8:35. a.m. Excuse me. Click in the box, and now we have our times correct. And the question here is asked, did the disturbance end before the survey ended? And we know yes, because on the beach data sheet, the surveyor actually put a Y for yes, but we also see that it did end at 8:35. So we're going to click that yes, it ended before the survey ended. And if there were notes to put in here, you can put them in, but this disturbance does not have any notes. Now we have a second disturbance. So down here, we're going to add number 2. And this disturbance was a motorized boat. And the time on this was at 8:47 starting. And when we look at this, we see the time 9 o'clock, but we see an N. So this is the answer to the question, did the disturbance end before the survey ended? And no, it did not. The birds had not returned substantially before the end of the survey at 9 o'clock. So what we do is when the disturbance goes beyond the end, we put 9 o'clock or the end of the survey time as the end time. And we say, no, it did not end before the survey ended. And there is a note on this one, which I will type in here. It's a motorboating back and forth in the colony gathering area. EGs flew off. And apparently they didn't come back before the end of the survey. So this is how we enter disturbances. If you had another one, there's just another plus. If you realize, oh, that was a mistake, you can always go back and, highlight the one you want to trash can. And then, so you go say you wanted to get rid of number 1, you would go back to number 1 and you could delete it using the trash can. but we're going to leave these two in there. And we are going to then go on to page 4. And I'm going to turn this back over to Dave so that he can show you the survey summary on his screen.
Thank you, Beth. So we're on, Beth is going to come back to uploading a beach data sheet, but
Oh,
I want to show you, actually, let's have Beth do
yeah, my mistake.
that part first. I'll stop the share and.
Sorry, guys. Okay, I'm back with you now. Sorry. This page 4, is where we upload our beach data sheet. So this is really important. It's important to get a really good legible screenshot of your beach data sheet, because people down the line doing QA and QC work are going to be looking at these to help with their data checking. And so this data sheet right here, it's pretty legible. And it's a nice example of what a good legible data sheet should look like. And over here are the icons for uploading those. Now, there are many ways to get that image initially, and I'll tell you that the way that I do it is I gather my beach data sheets from my colony mates. I consolidate them all to one sheet, consolidate all the data onto one sheet, and then I put it in my printer scanner, and I scan the beach data sheet both sides into a PDF and save it on my computer. Seems like it's a really simple way to go if you have a scanner at home. Another way to do it, many people will take their smartphone and take a photo of the beach data sheet and save it as a JPEG, and take a photo of each side, save those as JPEGs, and then email them to themselves or upload them from their phone to the computer, just so you have it on the computer to upload it. And lastly, we found a new tool called Genius Scan, and I can recommend it as a great way to use your phone to take a really good scan of the document, and then it allows you to email it to yourself. I'm not going to train on that today, but I will post up an instruction document to the toolbox in the next couple of days. But what I do is the scanning, save it to my computer. And once I've got it saved, I come here and I will click on this file folder, which is similar to lots of other uploading tools that you've seen for other applications. And I drill down to my documents where I have them saved. And you'll see here that there's only one document showing, and it is a JPEG. There are more documents in this folder, but they're PDFs. So if you've saved as a PDF, in order to see those, you come down here to the images type box, click on that, and another option drops down to allow you to see all files. So I click on that, you can see I have a couple of PDFs and a JPEG in this folder, and I can upload any of these documents. So I'm going to upload week 1, page 1, which is a PDF, into page 1. And then on this bottom folder for sheet 2 or page 2, I'm going to go back to the same place, and I am going to upload the JPEG, which is week 1, page 2. And you'll see kind of the difference. with the JPEG, you actually see the document here. With the PDF, you have to open it up to see it. If you upload a PDF also, you can upload a 2-page PDF. So if you feel like that's what you'd rather do, is to save your beach data sheet as one PDF, but with 2 pages, you can upload that here as well. And if you have a problem, you've uploaded the wrong document, you can always delete it and start over. And I wanted to do that because I wanted to make mention about the little camera icon. While that little icon allows you to take a photo using your computer, we've had people try this and it really just doesn't work that well. The images come across as crooked, they may be tilted, they may be too close, you know, so you don't get the whole document. It tends to not work as well as using a phone to take a picture or using like Genius Scan. So that's what I would recommend. And I'm gonna just go back and load that document back up by going down here, selecting all file types and selecting week 1, page 1 for the PDF. So that's how you upload documents into Survey123. So I'm gonna then now turn it back over to Dave to show you page 5, which is the summary and submit page.
Thanks, Beth.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to move to page 5 here. This is the last page of the Survey123 entry, and you really don't enter anything here. This has 2 functions. One is to give you a summary of the burrow information you entered, since that is certainly the PG count is very important and the burrow information is very important. The PG count is easy to enter into the first page of this form. The burrow count is a little more complex. Not so much after you get the hang of it, but initially it is, and you'll make mistakes. So it's really important that you use this summary of visits that'll be provided on page 5 and compare it to your beach data sheet entries. And it's pretty easy to do if on your beach data sheet, you keep all of you have a single line for each burrow. In this case, each of these burrows, all the visits are on one line. Sometimes you might have a super busy burrow where you might need additional space, but try and keep all of the burrow visits for a particular burrow on a single line here, and your data entry will be much easier, and your data quality control, checking your data, will be much easier because you'll be checking just a single line of entries against a single block of entries here on the visit summary. So this is your quality control check. You don't get another chance at the data once you submit it. You won't be able to go make changes in the data once you've submitted it. You don't have an editing tool available. So it's important that before you submit, you're confident your data is correct. So the primary function of this page is submitting the form. And you do that down here with this check mark in the lower right. And it has various options. Send now means you're ready to submit, and that will submit the form. If you decide you're not really ready to do that, you want to continue with the survey, you can click that and you'll be right back into the survey, and you can move between pages to do whatever it is you wanted to do. The third option is to save it in the outbox. for whatever reason, you may be unsure of some data you entered, and you may want to just save it in your outbox, which is saved to you, not submitted. And then you're able to go back into this at some later time and open it up and do more work. Another way of not submitting a form is this checkbox, or the X up here in the top left. If I click that, you have an option to close and lose the changes to the survey. That'll basically delete whatever you've done at this point, and you would be starting over. If you really get lost when you're first starting this, if you really get lost and you just feel like, oh my gosh, I've got so many wrong things in here, I just want to get rid of the survey. You can use this, and that will delete the survey, and you'll be able to start over. Similar to the check mark down here, you have an option to click this and continue the survey, or you can save this in drafts. And I will show you how that works. Save it to drafts. Something here so I can see. If you save it to drafts, you get a notice here. Something's been saved. If you back, and it says drafts here, if you back up on this arrow, it'll take you back to where Bets was when she opened up this survey. And you'll see that there is now a drafts down here with one draft in it. And if we open that, it is the one we saved, and you can open that. It'll reload the survey, and everything is there that was entered previously. I want to show you a couple of more things with this. Say we made a mistake. Say when we were checking the burrow information, say there was, pretending now, say there was also a gunnel delivery that we missed for burrow 9, or we'll say for burrow N1, there was a gunnel delivery. So you can go back to the burrows page. You can, using the arrow keys in the blue section, you can navigate to burrow N1 information. And you'll know you're there when this changes to N1, or when it changes to N1 up here at the burrow ID. And then you can add the additional visit. So to add another visit, you would add a plus sign, and we're going to say it was a gunnel visit at 8:20, a gunnel delivery at 8:20. No flying gunnels yet. So now the summary shows that we have that gunnel delivery. Say the time was wrong on one of these. Say this was actually 8:30 for the sculpin delivery on N1. Go back, and we're already on burrow ID N1, but if you weren't, you would come down here and navigate to it. And you navigate with the arrows to the right visit, and this is the correct visit. It was supposed to be 8:30, so you would correct that time. And you see that it's been updated to 8:30. This shows 8:30. So if the information here does not agree with your burrow data sheet, then you just need to go back and navigate to the correct burrow and to the correct visit. and make the changes, or add visits, or delete visits. There is a trash can for each of these. So as Bets was saying, if there's something that's not right, you can get rid of it. So we're going to get rid of the scuttle delivery since it's not on the burrow data sheet. So we navigate to it. There it is, and we'll do the trash can. It's now gone, and we'll put this time back to the correct time of 8:23. Sometimes this is 2, 3. All right, now it's back to what our beach data sheet says. That hopefully took a little bit of the mystery about how to make changes out of the on the burrow page. One other thing about survey notes, Bets mentioned fog and waves. Anything that you think is affecting what would be a normal survey is really important to put in the survey notes. And fog is a big one because that makes seeing the PGs on the water really difficult and may obscure deliveries to burrows. So when it's really foggy, the population counts and the deliveries are usually fewer than normal. And mostly, I think that's just because you don't see them happen, but maybe also the PGs are more reluctant to fly to the burrows when it's foggy. Also, when there are waves, it's harder to count PGs on the water, really hard at times, because you just get a fleeting glimpse and it's hard to know which ones you've counted and which ones you haven't. So those are really important things to note in general notes, because an analyst pulling the data together and getting results from it. If a couple of colonies in a region had heavy fog at the same time, they're doing the surveys at the same time, and their numbers are really depressed for population, he'll wonder what happened, where have they gone? But if he sees a note that reflects that there were weather reasons for that, that will really help explain the data so that we're not wondering if there was an actual population decrease. All right, I'm going to submit the survey. Oh, not quite, one last thing on the survey. I'm going to remove some data from the first page. I want you to see what happens if everything is not populated. See if I can do this. So total volunteer time was not entered. The person just skipped it somehow. So I'm going to go back and attempt to upload the form. And when I do that, I'll do that again. Click on the check sign down here in the lower right. And it takes me back to the first page. I can't submit it. And it puts a red block around this data that's missing. So if you inadvertently skip one of these, the information in one of these boxes, the survey won't submit, but it'll take you to the data that's been missed so that you can fill it in. So I think this was 8.5 hours. I'll go back to the submission page and it should submit. Send now. So that uploaded. Now, how do you see the data that you've been sending through Survey123? We'll show that next. I'm going to go back to the website. So here we are back in our Pigeon Guillemot website. Go to the toolbox, go to Survey123 Data System Training. And down here, there's a link to view your submitted surveys. You probably should put this link on your, somewhere handy, because I expect you'll use it quite a bit. This is called the view only dashboard. And it's the best way to look at the submitted data. All the regions are listed here, and we want to see the survey we just submitted, which was for region Whidbey. Then all of the select a region and all the colonies are listed, and we submitted that for the ZZZ sample colony. Clicking on the colony lists all of the surveys that have been submitted for the colony, and ours was submitted for 6-3. So clicking the survey starts to open survey information. Here is the data sheet that Beth showed you how to upload. So that is used in evaluating the data. What's been submitted to Survey123 is used in the quality control and quality assurance. This is the data that's on the page 1 that Bet's put in, and you can use the scroll to see all of it. It doesn't all necessarily fit within one screen, but that's everything that she input from page 1. This part up here is the disturbance data. And right now it's on the first disturbance she entered. And you can again scroll down to see all of the information and use the arrows to move between disturbances. It's the second disturbance. These are the 3 burrows that we had burrow visits for in this survey. You click on a burrow ID, and it loads the visits for that burrow down here. So you can see, you can go through and check the deliveries. So it's a really good tool. I'm sure you'll use it. Keep the link handy. Okay, back to Beth's. You are muted.
There we go. Okay, so now that we've given you a lot of information, we're hoping that you will go out and try it for yourself before you get into the thick of the season. And we've provided, if you go into your survey form, and you're going to do a sample test, you go to collect data. You will need to select your region, and I'm going to select Whidbey Island. We have put for each region, Dave has set up a ZZZ sample colony for testing. So in this time ahead of the start of the real season, if you want to go out and test submitting a Survey123 form, you can go out and go to your region and select the sample colony for testing and fill out the data and actually submit it, because that data will be discarded. It won't be a part of the survey season data. Now, to do that, if you'd like sample data to work with, again, going to the toolbox. If you scroll down to this area, you'll see that there is a beach data sheet training example, and the correct submission should look like this sample. And the beach data sheet training example that you will get if you click here is the one that we've been using today. So you'll have the same type of data to enter, and then the correct submission should look like this. And so that shows the summary page that Dave did a really good explanation on, so that you can compare that beach data sheet to this summary to see if you did a good job with it. And we think it would be fun if you were to try it out. And if you have questions or troubles with it, you can reach out to one of us and we can try to help your learning curve if there is any. And I think that's about it.
There is one, we've gotten a question fairly consistently about colonies where there are multiple observation points. So they're generally larger colonies or longer colonies on the beach, where you have 2 or 3 or more people at different locations observing the pigeon guillemots and their deliveries. And you can't, from maybe from one position, you can't see the deliveries at another position. So people are collecting different data and different PG counts as well. And the question is that people have asked is, do we submit a beach data sheet and a Survey123 entry for each of those locations, for each of the observation points? And the answer is no, you don't. You consolidate the information from however many observation points you have into one consolidated beach data sheet. And that is the information that you upload to Survey123. And I think that is it. Bets, thank you very much for your help.
Thank you, Dave.
You're welcome. I hope whoever might view this gets learned something from it and that it's helpful.
Yep.
So thank you
As
very
do I.
much. So long.
Bye-bye.